It's the Joe Padula Show, Clarksville's conversation.
Absolutely. This is already a topic.
That's right.
We're not even 2 months into the Biden administration.
Yeah. Joe's first month has been so great. We're already talking about who's going to run against Kamala Harris in 2024. That's
Wait. What?
That's right. No,
Is that one of your predictions?
Oh, absolutely.
You don't think Joe Biden is going to fulfill... Why? What do you think?
Joe's going to squeak it out just to the midterms, because if Kamala was president during the midterms, you realize that the Democrats only have a 5-seat majority in the House right now.
5-seat,
and they're tied in the Senate with Kamala as the tiebreaker. If she was the president for the midterms, it'd be a bloodbath. I mean, a red bloodbath.
I'll tell you what, right before we get to 2024 predictions, 2022, all right, midterm elections.
Yeah.
What's your predictions there already, even though, I mean, it's 2 years away?
I would say Republicans take back the House like they did in 2010 under Obama, the Tea Party movement. They had about a 60-seat. I think they won 67 seats from the Dems. So they took like a 30-seat majority. I see at least that.
I mean, a 5...
Especially when we're talking about Potato Head.
Head.
I think that's about 40 seats worth.
People are getting fed up of that woke culture and those who are backing it.
Yeah.
All right, but 2024.
Yes.
Running for president.
Yeah.
Shano, let's go to the display there, and let's take a look at some of these potential candidates.
Yeah.
Such as, I mean, we
Well,
mentioned Ron DeSantis out of Florida. You know, you got potentially Ted Cruz, a senator. I don't think he's going to run for president.
You know, there's a political Morning Consult poll, and I hate quoting polls because we saw how those worked out this last time, but they said that Trump was still about 54%.
Right.
If he decided to run. But what you're seeing is there's two factions that are going to be running in 2024, and that's the MAGA movement and the McConnell movement. So it's the Trumpers versus the establishment Republicans who really only embrace Trump for what he could do for them, to get them the White House back.
Well, what about Ron DeSantis? Where does he fall?
You know, he didn't even fall in this poll. It's funny. It was Trump, Pence, like at 12%. Trump Jr. was on there with 6%. Ted Cruz, Kristi Noem. So these are the MAGA candidates. These are the people who either are Trump or supported Trump.
Kristi Noem out of South Dakota.
Yes.
Who I love.
And she was a big-time Trump supporter.
Right.
And then you have the McConnell candidates who are way down in the poll. You've got Nikki Haley, 6%, Mitt Romney, 4%.
Nikki falls under a Nikki Haley, who was the UN ambassador under the Trump administration. She falls under the deep state Republicans, if you will.
She's basically turned her back on Trump. She said we shouldn't have followed him, and she worked for him. So, she was the UN ambassador. So, Tom Cotton, Ben Sasse, Josh Hawley, these are kind of the establishment Republicans who would be there even if Trump had never been there. So you've got these two factions, but unfortunately, Trump still has a large amount of support in the party.
You say unfortunately.
I didn't say unfortunately about Trump still having support in the party. Versus these other guys, he's actually more desirable to me than they are.
Now, I see Lindsey Graham saying that Trump is the future of the GOP. Where would you put him? Because I feel he's like a old school deep state GOP.
Well, see, he got reelected, so he's got 6 more years in the Senate, so he can really say whatever he wants. Now, these are 6-year terms for the Senate. So he kind of pushed Trump away after the January 6th stuff. But now that he won re-election, now the Senate is set the way it is. McConnell's the minority leader now. So now Lindsey Graham can kind of go back to being a Trump fan because they need Trump voters to hold power.
What about Tucker Carlson? I heard Tucker Carlson running for
he's got the top-rated show on cable news. Why would he do that? He has a 2-hour-a-night forum. He can say whatever he wants. He can have people on. But what it comes down to, Joe, is you have the MAGA movement against the McConnell movement, Trump and his allies on one side, and you have McConnell and his allies on the other. And the question is, who can unite the party?
Who?
Well, that's the problem, is that if you have Kamala Harris running in 2024, right, ripe for the pickings, you have to have both sides worth of voters. So that brings in guys like Ron DeSantis. Now, DeSantis, clearly a Trump supporter. But also with Gavin Newsom possibly getting impeached and Cuomo possibly getting impeached, DeSantis is looking better and better every day. As people are saying, hey, let's go to Disney World, they're open, he looks better and better every day.
Yeah, I think Cuomo's political futures are pretty much, even just because of the whole nursing home gate.
So people like Ron DeSantis, Kristi Noem, they may be able to unite both sides of the party as one against Harris in 2024.
Okay.
I think that the diehards are going to struggle. The diehards like Hawley and Romney, no chance at all, because the MAGA people will never forgive them. Romney voted to impeach Trump twice. There's no way Trump voters are going to vote for Mitt Romney. That's never going to happen.
Romney seemed to have turned into a joke.
Yeah. They're going to go third party before they would vote for Mitt Romney.
Speaking of which, where does Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat out of Hawaii, who's a former congresswoman who didn't run again, where does she fit in all this?
Well, what happened was during the primary, the corruption of the Democratic Party got exposed. She was a Iraq war veteran with 2 deployments. She was a combat medic. She was a congresswoman. She was a minority. And they completely buried her candidacy. They blacklisted her from debates. And so
she ran circles around Kamala Harris at the Democrat debates.
That's right. She practically knocked Harris out of the race, right, in that July. But here's the thing about Tulsi Gabbard. Here's why she, I think, could be a unifying force on the Republican side, like Reagan was when he switched from Democrat to Republican in the 60s. The reason she could do it is because she's hated by the Clintons, hated by Hillary Clinton. Guess what? Republicans also hate Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
She can knock out Kamala. She's already proven. She's beloved by Fox News. She's on Fox News all the time, so you can't tell me they wouldn't make her their media darling. Conservatives on the McConnell side like her because of her bipartisan support of bills. And the other reason is she's doing a tour right now. Stephen Crowder. Tomorrow she's on Megyn Kelly. She's gone on
Is she really?
Huckabee.
She's doing all these.
She's doing tours on conservative.
She's projecting
Yeah.
that she's going to be running maybe potentially a GOP candidate.
In 1962, Ronald Reagan switched parties because he saw the Kennedy dynasty was going to own the Democratic Party for the next decade.
Right.
He switched parties. Nixon ran for governor of California after losing to Kennedy. After that, Reagan switched full-on Republican in 1964 and ran for governor of California. So I can see Tulsi absolutely following in the footsteps of Ronald Reagan, just dropping the Dems altogether and going Republican.
You know who else should be following the footsteps in and changing their parties?
Donald
J. Trump. He in the 80s, I remember Donald Trump as a Reagan Democrat.
So you're saying if Trump ran as a Democrat?
No, I don't think he would. I mean, that Democratic Party is no longer that Democratic Party.
You're talking about him going to a third party.
No, Trump was a Democrat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Trump was a Democrat.
You're right.
Became
he
a
went
Republican.
to Republican. There you go. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I think Donald's going to run again, and I think we'll find out more on Sunday when the Donald speaks at CPAC.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good thing if he runs again?
I do. I think who he picks for vice president will be very important, and I could see it being Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, I could too.
I really could.
She's the only Democrat not to vote to impeach him.
Right. And I think that's going to go a long way. I appreciate your insight on everything.
All right. Appreciate being here.
You guys got any questions for Dennis before we move forward?
I'm good.
It's pretty well explained. Dennis J. Potvin, political analyst.
You know, there's one other person who just moved to Nashville who's talking about running for president.
Candace Owens.
Yeah.
She just had a baby, too.
Yeah.
Right. What happens to the boobies after babies?
You don't want to know.
No?
No.
And I don't want to say.
No. All right. Yeah, you know what? Let's keep it professional. Let's keep it professional. Yeah. I like her. She's married, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move forward before we get in trouble here.
Before we move down like our boobs do after babies.
Mm-hmm. Milk's gone sour.
It's the Joe Padula Show. Bada bing. Clarksville's conversation.